there's songs that there's too much talking, not enough booty slap.
We took that to heart.
Word.
Back in the day.
I think Elvis said,
Too much conversation.
too much conversation,
Not enough action.
not enough action. A little less conversation, a little more action, right?
Did you seriously just quote Key Lark?
I did, yes.
He said
I
a
was
lot of
recently
things.
at a lecture.
It's gone. He missed it. He asked me to do that. I missed it, Richard. Sorry. Tell him I did it.
I was actually at a lecture last week, or 2 weeks ago. I was speaking at this convention for children's entertainers. And there was a presenter who was doing a lecture. And it was about basically intellectual property. It ended up being about intellectual property and protection of ideas and things like that. And one of the main sources of information that was presented was Two Live Crew lawsuits. Really? It's like a kids' entertainment conference, and talking about Two Live Crew. I'm like, I wonder if these people know what the heck this guy's talking about. I wanted to just be like, hey, why don't you play a little of that so we can kind of get flavor.
We'll get a little flavor of this.
Get flavor where it's coming from.
Yeah. Okay. So no information without engagement. Hey, look, I realize everyone wants information. That's awesome, and I want to give them information. But you got to give us a little taste, you know? Like, give us something to work with here. You want some information on it? Give us some. Give us. You want some? I'll give you some information. You give me some information. And by the way, of course, our form of engagement generally is Opta, but that's not the only form of engagement here from the philosophical standpoint. They could engage in other ways as well. You know, they could take a survey. They could,
Request some information.
Request information. They could visit certain pages. I mean, there's all forms of engagement online. But the idea that,
They're not going to be anonymous and irrelevant to us and get what they want from us at the same time.
Right. So, and really it begs the question, who do you want to talk to in your business? Do you want to only speak to people who specifically want a vehicle that you have? Or do you want to talk to pretty much anybody who generally would be interested in having a nicer, newer car? It's a bit of a rhetorical question, I think, because why wouldn't you want to speak to anybody who's generally interested? No?
It's not necessarily rhetorical. I know that our advisors speak to dealerships on a daily basis who specifically only want to talk to people who already are interested in a specific vehicle they have. And if they could get nothing but that person, it would be 100% happy.
I guess. It's true.
I mean, obviously, they're not really interested in explosive growth or ESP, a real opportunity, but it's a choice.
Well, so it requires a shift. It requires, I guess it's a paradigm shift, from thinking about the purpose of your website from being, take a look at everything I've got, let me know if there's anything here you like. By the way, that works for Amazon. They kill it at that.
It's interesting because it does work. It works for Amazon. But that's the model that all the retail stores operate on, and it no longer works for them because of Amazon. Because now, before it was like go to Best Buy, search the shelves, and if you see something you like, go ahead and buy it. Now I go to Best Buy and I look at the shelves and I go, they don't have shit here. And I go, I'm just going to go to Amazon because I can get what I want, right?
Yeah.
And so it's broken. That model is broken. And because of the internet, because of really cars.com and all these other sources where there's tons of vehicles coming to this lot or going to the website and just looking at your inventory and seeing that it's broken. It doesn't work anymore. Because they're going to more than likely not see what they can dream up. Because there's just so many options. Especially if it's a manufacturer, they can go to the manufacturer website, build a specific car with 9 million options that don't even actually exist in real life. And then they go to find that on your site, and you only obviously have a limited number of cars, and maybe only have a limited number of vehicles uploaded to the site at any given time. And they're trying to find this fictitious vehicle that, like unicorn, the Sasquatch that they built, doesn't exist.
Right. Well, it's funny.
But they think it does.
A couple weeks ago, we were invited to speak at the Digital Dealer conference, and it was here in Orlando, so we did. And I think we had a really nice workshop, and but I can tell you, they're not talking about that stuff over there. They're not talking about this. Like their whole world is matching the vehicles you got to the people who are looking for those vehicles, which I get. It's just such a small scale opportunity. So ultimately, so I'm going to answer your question from earlier before. This is where it's coming up. Talking about moving the conversion step to the front page. We found, and actually this was always our theory, but when we started in 2009, started creating the websites for people, nobody was really willing to do this. And so only recently have people been willing to adopt this more radical approach. And moving the conversion step, the call to action, up to the very first step in the process, up to the front page, actually boosts the conversion rate up. Which is contrary to all conventional wisdom that you'll find at Digital Dealer, for instance. In fact, they probably would have even let us into the event if they knew we did this.
Which we don't even talk about this at an event like that, because this is way too...
It would have disqualified us, though, it would have ruined our credibility. We couldn't possibly be an expert in digital marketing if we would be willing to do something like this. So this is, as of today, as of right now, this is the front page on Scott Landon's website. I went there yesterday and took the screenshot. So I guess I should say as of yesterday, so it's being changed. So you asked earlier, how do you get the information? This is how you get the information. There are other ways too, but this is right now the thing that's working the best in getting information. This is the front page of the website. So what do they all click? They click that I want to start by looking at your inventory. I should have gotten the next screenshot. I didn't. Do we have an internet connection over there? Possibly. We'll show you. Because when you click on that, what it brings in is great. Tell me your name, email address, and phone number, and you can take a look at the inventory. So there's nowhere to go here except to enter your information. I believe there are some links somewhere on this page that allow the search engine crawlers to get through to the site. Yeah, Scott.
Can I add one thing to the whole web?
Yeah. You're going to bring your microphone, Scott.
Yes. And you guys can probably validate the number, but I believe that the analytics say now something like 85% of all web searches are happening on the smartphone.
It's high.
So when
It's at least 50.
And you can attest to all of the mind screwing we did over the justtrucks.com website, and whether it should have this or should have that or whatever. And sitting in with our management team, got the thing, and actually my wife brought it up. She says, well, "Isn't everybody looking at you on a mobile phone?" And she said, and she's looking at what you guys came up with on the mobile phone. She says it's perfect. It has two things. I can click on it and I can go. What more do you want on a mobile phone? And that's when it kind of clicked to me that why am I screwing around with thinking about how this front page should look and what pictures should be up there and all that? When everybody's on a mobile phone, they want two buttons.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
So, to me, it works, and I quit even thinking about all this goofy web design stuff.
Well, you got plenty of leads, nonetheless, right?
And we get plenty of leads, and I think they're all coming from the phone.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to append that whether it's mobile or not into the lead, so we can go back and categorize them. That'd be an interesting test.
The analytics, I think, does that, right?
The analytics.
Yeah, analytics will show you on the back end.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't show you by specific lead, but it will show you the percentages.
Yeah.
Do we have an online version of this yet? No? Don't worry about it. It brings up a pop-up that says opt-in, and it kind of looks like the inventory is just right behind the blurred out pop-up. And of course, yes.
I guess my question would be, how much information is true information that they're putting into this? Do you get
Oh yeah.
Darth Vader and
Yes.
the wrong number?
Yeah, you get that stuff. Yeah. It's easy to cheat the system.
We run 60% good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, Phil.
Are you all hosting this?
Yeah.
You guys are hosting this? It's not. You guys are hosting this as a sub-site to his For the People site?
Yeah, actually, this is just the For the People site. We just created this as an alternative front page.
And once you opt in, it goes to the full
Yep.
For the People site. So this is the next step. When they select I want to see the inventory, or if they select I want to get approved, it takes them to a similar page that looks like this.
Hey, Scott.
But the copy's relevant to that. And they put their name, information, email, and phone number here. They click View Inventory, which looks like it's right there behind the picture, or the pop-up, that's just a picture back there. It's not the actual inventory. They fill it out, they click the button, and it takes them to the actual inventory.
Now you,
You're going to get a call now.
and so, and in case you guys, some of you guys might not be aware that we can now display your actual inventory feed right in the For the People site. So you don't. It used to be that you'd have to go over to a different third-party site. You don't have to do that anymore. Of course, we don't host it. You have to host it somewhere, but we can take the feed, publish the feed here. So Rick Tyra, in January, middle of December, you switched your front page to that, right?
Yes,
And you got a whole bunch more leads?
yes, a whole bunch more.
Okay, cool.
Elaborate, Rick.
Yes.
I don't know exact number. Roughly speaking, the old For the People site converted to somewhere around 25 to 30% of total website visits to leads. And I got converted over to this middle of December. And with operating on a full month in the month of January, I had, that was the first time I had over 2,000 leads in a full month. And my conversion rate was, it was either 48% or 49%. So almost half of all the people that went to my website converted into a lead.
It's excellent. Yeah.